In the quaint town of Willowbrook, nestled between rolling hills and sparkling streams, there lived a young man named Leo. Leo was infamous in the town, not for his charm or wit, but for his extraordinary talent for procrastination. If there were an Olympic event for laziness, Leo would have taken gold, silver, and bronze without even trying. Leo had a peculiar mantra: why do today what can be done tomorrow? His mother, Mrs. Green, often despaired, saying, "Leo, the cows can't milk themselves. You'll end up being the only farmer in history whose fields grow weeds instead of crops." Leo would nod lazily, a half-smile playing on his face, and return to his hammock under the old oak tree. He spent hours there, daydreaming about a life of ease and comfort. Why work hard when there's so much time to relax, he'd muse. One day, news spread through Willowbrook about a mysterious old man named Mr. Hector, who had arrived from a faraway land. They said he was a sage who held the secret to unlocking one's fullest potential. For a fee, Mr. Hector promised to teach people how to achieve their greatest desires. Curiosity piqued, Leo ambled into the town square. He found Mr. Hector sitting on a wooden bench surrounded by a crowd of eager townsfolk. Leo wasn't particularly interested in achieving greatness, but the idea of someone else doing the work for him was too tempting to ignore. When it was his turn, Leo approached the sage and said, "Mr. Hector, I hear you have the secret to success. Can you help me achieve everything I want, without working too hard?" The old man chuckled. "Ah, young man, success doesn't come without effort. But," he said, leaning closer, "there is a way to win against laziness. Are you ready to learn?" Leo hesitated. "Will it take long?" "That depends on you," Mr. Hector replied cryptically. Reluctantly, Leo agreed. The sage handed him a small wooden box and said, "Inside this box is the secret to defeating laziness. Take it home, but do not open it until tomorrow morning. Tonight, think deeply about what you truly desire." Curious but not wanting to exert any energy thinking, Leo went home, placed the box on his bedside table, and promptly fell asleep. The next morning, he woke up with a flicker of excitement, a rare emotion for him. He opened the box and found a single piece of parchment with 3 words scrawled in elegant handwriting. "Start small today." Leo frowned. "That's it? I waited all night for this," he muttered. Disappointed, he tossed the parchment aside and returned to his hammock. But the words lingered in his mind. That afternoon, as the sun cast golden rays over his overgrown fields, he thought, what if I just try something small, just today? Reluctantly, Leo got up and picked up a rusted hoe from the barn. He cleared a tiny patch of weeds, just enough to see a bit of earth. Surprisingly, it felt good. Not the work itself, but the fact that he had done something. The next day, he decided to clear another patch. Then the next day, another. Each time, the task seemed a little less daunting. Within weeks, Leo's once overgrown fields began to look like they had potential. His neighbors, who had long written him off as a lost cause, started to take notice. "What's gotten into you, Leo?" Mrs. Green asked one evening as she saw him repairing the fence. Leo smiled. "I'm not sure, Ma. But I think starting small wasn't such a bad idea." As the days turned into months, Leo discovered something remarkable. The more he worked on small tasks, the more energy he had for bigger ones. He started planting crops, fixing his barn, and even helping neighbors with their chores. His reputation shifted from being the laziest man in Willowbrook to being one of its most diligent workers. One evening, as the sun set over his thriving fields, Leo found himself reflecting on his transformation. He took out the parchment from the old box and read the words again, "Start small today." It wasn't magic, he realized, but a shift in perspective. By starting small, he had overcome the overwhelming inertia of laziness. The key wasn't in doing everything at once, it was in doing something, anything, to create momentum. Years later, when Leo's farm became the most prosperous in Willowbrook, he often shared his story with young dreamers and procrastinators. He kept Mr. Hector's parchment framed in his living room, a testament to the simple yet profound wisdom that had changed his life. As for Mr. Hector, he vanished from Willowbrook as mysteriously as he had arrived. Some say he was a wandering sage, others believe he was just an old man with a knack for motivating people. But Leo liked to think he was a messenger sent to teach the world a powerful truth. The secret to winning against laziness isn't grand gestures or magical solutions. It's simply finding the courage to take the first step, today.